is Sithembile Ndlovu, and I first met Dlalanathi in late 2008 because I do have an organization which is working in the community. It is a feeding scheme, and then I realized that it has not be only by feeding, it has to be a psychosocial support as well, because the mono attention to the person, it's not enough. It needs to be holistic. That's why I decided to confront Dlalanathi. And then in 2009, we were also fortunate that in their plan, they were going to develop our area as well.
I know you've had a lot of loss in your family and in your community and all around you. Is there any way in which that loss helps you with your work, helps you to understand your work better, or do your work better, or motivates you for your work more?
Being a person who is also being affected about loss, working with Dlalanathi had helped me so much for me to be able to deal with my loss, my sufferings, as well to be able to help the community I'm working with. Yeah.
Can you give me an example of an exercise that you use doing the arts that works where nothing else has worked before, where it's the arts specifically that makes the exercise so effective?
Well, with the art, I think the doll making is perfect, because even though previously we were used to use dolls in playing, but when it came to be a healing instrument, it was perfect. I can take the example of myself. When I was doing the doll making, and the moment I had to think about this doll of mine, to personalize it and to relate the doll with me, myself, it's when I think about the things that happened in my life since I was young, and those things were backseated in my subconscious mind. And those things change my behavior negatively, like anger, like withdrawing, isolating myself sometimes, all those things. But with the doll making, I was able to detect all those things were backseated and to deal with them and come out. And then I get support from Dlalanathi, like counseling, so that I'll be able to cope with those things. Some other things you can't change, they are there. That is doll making. And as well, when I implemented to the group, I also realized that it was powerful, the doll making, as well as with the unfinished story, whereby a person has a lot of questions. Why so-and-so decided to die? Why so-and-so decided to leave me? For children, for widows? Why should so-and-so decided for grannies to leave me with this burden of offense? All those things. When you give those person an opportunity to write to that person a letter whereby you are going to ask all those questions, and behind the page you can say to them, right, you can pretend as if you are that particular person and you answer those questions. What I realized is that when they are first writing all those questions, it became real. Some they do cry, some they do become angry, and they did that exercise. When you say now pretend as if you are that particular person, you can say even a smile. For example, there was a child who said in the replying letter, "My daughter, this thing happened to me was beyond my capacity. I wouldn't allow myself to leave you. You know, there was a healing. And after that, they told me that they were out of those questions.
Are there any aspects of your work that you approach differently with boys than with girls? And are there any particular challenges that you see that girls face that boys don't face?
Oh, about the challenges working with the girls and boys, in my work, it's not much difficult because of the technique Dlalanathi came with. You know, it's direct focus to that particular person, and when you put the exercise, that person focus on herself or himself. I've realized that the people used to look at other person, how is somebody going to say, how so and so is going to respond to that question or situation. When you put an exercise, the person become a person and focus on their own experiences in such a way that even with the age gap, I was so afraid to mix like kids from 5 years with the teenagers 18 years. And I realized that when you put this art, you can see that there is no gap. Everyone can get help, no matter how old or age or sex or whatever. Yeah.
Is there anything that you've learned about your work with arts in particular that you think that other grassroots organizations in South Africa or even across Africa could learn from and could also use effectively?
About the art which can help the grassroots organization, I think the doll making, as I explained it, and the genogram, it is also powerful, whereby the person can draw the people in the family. It's about my family, the family who are alive and people who died. Then when we come as a group, it's when a person can share about his or her genogram. And in that genogram, there are signs you have to put. For males, it should be a square. For females, it should be round. For people who died, you cross, and so forth. And then with that genogram, the person can be able, one, to talk about those people who die and the causes of death, so that the person can now verbalize those things which happened to that particular person. And the person can then realize that, oh, in fact, I've been thinking that there are so many people who died, but now so and so and so and so is still alive. I'm still having other people around me, so I still have a support. And then the person now started to focus on the people who are alive. How are they can be able to assist me, to help me, to support me? And another thing is echo map. About echo map, it's when the people have to draw the facilities around them, like is there any hospital, police station, organization, etc., or any person, soup kitchens, church, all those things. And then the people can then realize that, oh, I'm not alone. If I do have come across a problem, now I've got all these facilities which can be able to assist me. So is this church related? I can go to the church. Is this health related? I can go, etc., including schools.
How do the youth you work with who are helping in community development, how do they react to the work, and how do you think the work helps them in other areas of their lives?
I've realized that most of the time the youth are like people who are weird because they are in the transformation whereby they are becoming an adult, you know, all those things. And in our days, even the elderly people who should teach them that now we are growing. Like previously, there was some ceremonies whereby when a girl or a boy has been becoming an adult, reaching an adolescent stage, whereby there should be a ceremony and the community members should come and support that person. And now, you know, with the physical changes and all these things happening in our life, HIV and AIDS, sick people, loss, all those things, then the youth become stigmatized as the bad people who are misbehaving, doesn't want to listen. All negative things are being pasted to them. So then when I work with Dlalanathi, I use all these techniques, and I also being able to send them to Dlalanathi to attend some support groups. It's when they be able to cope with their difficulties they come across, and they then realize how to achieve their goals and the importance of being a youth in the community which is struggling and suffering.